Busch Gardens is located in Williamsburg, Virginia, and is considered the world's most beautiful theme park. The theming is very elaborate and they have some great roller coasters and family rides. In this video, I'm looking at what would be a great fit to add to the park in the future. This is based off of speculation, so none of this is fact or confirmed or anything like that. But it's always fun to look into a park's future and make predictions about what they could possibly be adding. So let's get started by first looking at what they added in the past. 2011 brought their drop tower. 2012 they added Verbolten. 2013 they took a year off, and then in 2014 they had London Rocks and then Colossal Curl over at Water Country USA next door. And of course this year in 2015 they added Tempesto, a multi-launch roller coaster. That's 2 coasters in 5 years, 1 thrilling ride and 1 show. And then they also add 1 slide to their water park. Oftentimes in a park's past, you can see patterns and history tends to repeat itself, so looking in the past can help make it easier to make predictions for the future. Let's start off by predicting 2016. I'm thinking that they're going to be adding some family rides. What family rides they'll be adding, I don't know. A lot of parks have been adding some flying scooters lately. I think that those would work well at this park. And since Busch Gardens tends to theme each of their rides elaborately, I think that some of their family rides that they'd be adding that are just standard family rides and not anything special, they could make stand out based off of the theming that they add to it. I also have a picture of a Ferris wheel on there. However, I don't really think that they'd be adding one. However, what I would like to see at this park at some point is an observation tower. A Ferris wheel would provide that, but also a standard tower that takes you up to the top, spins around, and then comes back down would be great. You kind of get that with Mock Tower, except that's also a thrill ride, so something like an observation tower would be good for everyone that would like to see the park from the sky. The thing is that they don't have too many smaller flat rides that appeal to everyone in the family. If they have kids rides, then they really are meant for the younger kids. So something like a pair of flying scooters or maybe a fun spinning flat ride would be a good addition. Plus, the last time that they added family rides was several years ago, so this would be a welcome addition. In terms of where to add it, I very well could see them adding it to Oktoberfest. And in 2017, I would love to see them add a Funtime Starflyer. These are great spinning thrill rides. And this is just a side note, I'd love to see them add it in the Ireland section of the park, since that area really needs some attention and a ride to attract more crowds. Right now, really the only ride that is there is Europe in the Air. And in a way, this ride would make up for not having an observation tower. It would give you a great view of the park. It doesn't have to be freakishly tall. It could be 180 feet. It could be over 200. That's what's great about these rides. They come at varying heights. It does tend to be very much an amusement parky type ride. However, like I said, depending on how Busch Gardens themes it, they could easily make it work in their park. I could also see them adding a new animal exhibit. In 2018, I think that the park will add a new show. 2018 will probably be an off year for the park, and they'll try to focus on Water Country USA and maybe add a slide complex there, or just a new slide. For 2019, I'm making a bold prediction that is kind of out there. The chances of it happening are pretty slim, but if it happens, then I would be the coolest person ever, because you guys would be like, whoa, how did you predict that? I'm predicting that they will be adding a new themed land. It's been rumored for a while that they would be adding it. We don't know when or what it would be or where it would go. But people have always speculated about it. So a few years down the road, I could easily see them doing that. Where to add it? I think that they could add it onto Oktoberfest. There's a spot in between Fest House and the bumper cars that could serve as a pathway. It is a bit of a smaller pathway, but Busch Gardens is known for having smaller, more obscure pathways, so it would fit in with the theming. And this area would be a bit of a dead end, but you could easily make it a really cool area. Busch Gardens is known for having some great theming and great landscaping, so I could easily see it work. Plus, opening up a new area could allow them to add more rides and even a potential roller coaster a few years from then. I've outlined the potential area for where the land could be in purple, and in blue I've marked where they could add a new train station. Like I mentioned, the train passes through this area, and there isn't a train stop in Oktoberfest. There's only one in New France. So this would be a great way to drop people off on this side of the park. The train's already headed that direction, so this would just mean stopping it and building a little station around it. As far as I know, I believe it's doable. And as for what themed land, I made the prediction for Spain. That's always the prediction people have always thought about. However, I could see it being Belgium or Switzerland or some other country like that. Like I said, it is a pretty bold prediction, but it'd be pretty cool if it came true. And in 2020, I am predicting that they will be adding their next roller coaster. This will have been 5 years since they had their last one, Tempesto. As for what type of coaster, I see a couple of options. Whatever it is, I don't think it'll be a launch coaster because they already have two. I have always wanted a flying coaster at this park because that'd be the coolest thing, and I've predicted an area for where they could put it. It could go out over the Rhine River, and a flying coaster doing that maneuver would just be so cool. And with the terrain that Busch Gardens has, a flying coaster would just be so incredibly awesome. I would want a flying coaster more than anything. However, that is a large investment. B&Ms are expensive. So if they want to go something that was cheaper but still a really good ride, I think it would be great if Busch Gardens added a wooden coaster. Would they do it? Well, I don't know. I'd love to see them add a GCI. I could even see them going with an RMC. I think the GCI would be the better fit. And the reason I think that is because RMCs are known for being intense rides that have some crazy elements like inversions. I don't think that Busch Gardens needs another coaster that goes upside down. And the only exception to that would be if they added a flying coaster. A GCI is all about ejector airtime and bank turns. Those are two things that Busch Gardens does not have. It would be a great fit. If they added it, I could see them adding it near the Italy section. They have an area that the train goes by which is mostly occupied by like sheep. I don't think too many people would be upset about them removing a sheep pasture in exchange for a new roller coaster. So here's a recap of what I'm predicting Busch Gardens Williamsburg's next 5 years might look like. Now, are these reasonable predictions? I will admit some of them are pretty bold and kind of out there, but that's what's fun about making these predictions. It's going out on a limb. Now, part of what makes these predictions unlikely is that the SeaWorld company has come into some financial problems lately. The reason you're seeing a lot of SeaWorld parks adding these large attractions for 2016 is that the company purchased them before they ran into some financial constraints. So most likely Busch Gardens already knows what they're adding for 2016 and they bought it before the problems arose. Everything else, though, it's likely that new attractions are going to be put on hold because of this. It's unknown when they'll be able to recover or get out of it, so I'm not sure if the park would financially be able to afford a lot of this. However, you have to remember that 5 years is a long time, and so I could easily see them getting out of it within the next 5 years. And that's what makes this difficult to make accurate predictions. So these predictions are more based off of wishful thinking, but hey, it'd still be pretty cool, and I could see the park making these decisions. It would help bring in some more guests and add in some new attractions that everyone would love and enjoy and make Busch Gardens a better park.